What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Today's video, we have the brand new Embrys, the Anomaly, announced. He will be the fragment collector, fragment champion that you get from the Chimera. I know you guys were on top of me for that, but Chimera, I get used to saying it, but he is going to be the main reward coming from that new boss. And we're going to go over his kit here real quick. I'm not going to lie, on first read, I read this first thing in the morning and I only had a chance to get to this video now, but I wasn't really impressed with this, especially considering that this champion is somewhere in the future. He kind of isn't really going to be super, in the meta, I guess, even right now. But if you consider him maybe like 6 months into the future, I can't see this guy being more into the meta. But anyways, let's jump into his kit and see what he's all about. He is a mythical champion, which is of course very cool, but so was Carnage. Carnage is a mythical champion from the Centrano cities, and people have been starting to pick him up more and more and finding more use for him. When he was announced, I remember Carnage was very, very powerful. He had like 1900 attack and people were really excited about it. But obviously 6 months into the future, 9 months into the future, he is not as insane as first, looked on, right? So I think this Embrys might not age that well in a similar way 6 months or a year down into the future. But anyways, let's go over his kit real quick here. His first form is going to be a support force form, and it's going to be basically just a kind of crowd control support champion. His A1 is an AoE and is destroying max HP off each target. The duration of random debuffs will increase by 1 turn, and then the effect can't be resisted if the enemy has necrosis stack. So necrosis is right here. It's basically whenever a champion dies, the necrosis stack is placed on all the alive enemies. So when another champion dies, another stack will be added, and so forth. Each stack will deal 5% of the champion's max HP at the beginning of their turn, unless I think there's something that says otherwise, but so far it's 5%. It's basically like a damage over time, like a dot debuff that's going to damage you. It looks like it can be removed by reviving the dead ally. So that's kind of the only way. You can't cleanse it off or anything like that. It's interesting. It's kind of like, I would think it's like poison. But it's a damage over time thing, so it's not going to be like instant kill. So it might be good for like long drawn out fights. His A2 places fear on all enemies, 50% decrease attack on all enemies for 2 turns. The effects can be resisted if they have necrosis stacks. Grants an extra turn. So a lot of debuffs, crowd control. His A3, the unmaking AoE, removes stone skin. Keep in mind it's 50-50 chance. Stone skin always has that built in. So first you got to do the 50-50 and then you got to do the resistance check. So then you need accuracy for that, of course. And then replaces it with True Fear. Of course, getting chance to sheep himself, sorry. Block debuffs will be replaced with block buffs. And then he does the buff swapping into negative debuffs, similar to how Amius does it. Also steals turn meter 5% for each buff converted into debuffs by the skill. Also decreases the turn meter by all enemies by 20%. So a lot of turn meter stuff, a lot of control, a lot of CC. It's a 4-turn cooldown as well. And then these effects can't be resisted if they're under necrosis, which is good. Lessens up the accuracy requirement a little bit. His passive here, I don't want to block the passive, but whenever an enemy is killed, place 1 necrosis stack on all other enemies. Necrosis stacks cannot be resisted or blocked. Okay, that's good. So you don't need accuracy for this part of his kit. Necrosis stacks can only be removed by reviving dead allies. So you need revivers to take off this damage over time debuff. This effect cannot work against bosses. If you have multiple champions, blah, blah, blah. At the start and the end of this champion's turn, instantly activate any necrosis stacks on all enemies. So at the start and the end. It's pretty big, right? It's pretty big. It's bigger than, for example, poisons. But poisons are easier to apply because necrosis only happens when you kill somebody. Increase ally HP in all battles. That's his passive. His aura. I mean, yeah, like he has a lot of CC like ability and stuff, and then he has this necrosis stack thing. But honestly, like how much damage you're gonna get out of this necrosis stack? Like it could be something that is it's good for drawn out fights, right? Drawn out fights, it could be good. He does bring a lot of CC, but again, sheep can still wreck this guy really, really hard. and he doesn't have any other way to really deal with it. He also needs accuracy in his kit to basically like remove Stone Skin. And you know, you might not be able to out accuracy some champions that have insane resistance. So yeah, let's move on to his alternate form. So his alternate form here is a damage dealer. He's an HP based force damage dealer here. Looks super sweet, by the way. I love the look of this guy. His A1, attack one enemy, extra hit if they have any necrosis stacks, and it's going to be block revive. That's really nice. That's a really nice thing. Too bad there's no extra turn kind of thing on his A1. That would be super sick. You just block revive and kill everybody. That would actually make his A1 really, really strong. His A2, 3-turn cooldown, AoE, double hit to enemies whose accuracy is lower than this champion's accuracy, and then ignore 50% of each enemy's defense whose accuracy is equal to higher. So he has two different conditions happening. One, if the accuracy on your enemy is lower, you get a double hit. If it's higher, then you do 50% ignore defense. I'm sure there's a math thing here where you can determine which is more beneficial, whether the double hit is better or the ignore defense is better. So you can kind of gear towards the more likely scenario. Like let's say the double hit's more powerful overall. Therefore, you want to build more accuracy on him. Therefore, you can get more double hits. The thing is, his base form is kind of needs accuracy. He does have negative resistance, like ignore bits of resistance if you have books in him. But he still needs accuracy, right? You're going to run into some champions that have, more resistance, and then you can't take off their stone skin, and then it's going to be a big pain in the butt, and then his base form is just kind of useless. But you do need accuracy on this guy. So you're probably building with some accuracy, so he'll have probably more accuracy than other damage dealers, for example. So you'll be doing a double hit to them. However, against like really strong supports, let's say you're fighting against like Galathea or something, and your accuracy or whatever champion has insane amounts of accuracy, you'll be doing 50% ignore defense against those champions. So I'm sure there's an optimal way to deal with it. Gotta be mathed out a little bit, but most likely you'll probably be dealing the double damage to enemies. So I mean it's good. It kind of covers all bases. It's a 3-turn cooldown. See how it smacks. We need to see the multipliers first. It is an HP based damage dealer, so there's not too many super strong ones. I mean, you have Frony, Narcissus, Taros, but a lot of them are kind of let downish. Anyways, his A3, swap HP with an enemy. So HP swap, that's kind of cool. If it's a boss, fully restore this champion's max HP and fully heals. Okay. And then each time the skill is used, the increases the champion ignore defense by 10%. Okay. I mean, you're not going to use it too much, and then you get an extra turn out of it. So I guess you will kind of like swap HP and then blow them up with the AoE, maybe. That could work. That's kind of interesting. Maybe it could be a live arena type champion. You could do it against a really strong like support champion. Swap HP. That could be cool. Swap HP with an enemy. Yeah, swap HP, so similar to like Astrolith, taking the HP. Okay. His passive I think is pretty good. So it goes, passive effect. When this champion dies, reflect 50% of the fatal hit back to the attacker, including splash damage. So if this guy gets obliterated by like the Wukong or something, that damage will probably go back, probably go back to the attacker and kill the attacker. That's going to be pretty wild. We don't know if it's like direct. Like if a Wukong deals 300 damage to him, is 50% of that going back to the Wukong, or is there some other calculation that happens afterwards? I don't know exactly how this reflect part works, but it should be able to kill the attacker after this guy dies. So when an enemy is killed, so he has the necrosis conditions as well, similar to his base form. So that's good. It's just damage over time. Active effect. If this champion is about to be killed by a fatal hit, so basically interrupt that hit, places revive on death on him, and then he takes the damage. So, and then he'll just revive on death. You can stop that with block buffs or Lydia or something, but I think it's probably pretty good. It won't get messed up by like multi-hits, I'm pretty sure. Not like how Freya's works, where the guy's stuck at 1 HP and then gets kind of wrecked by multi-hits. So I think this is a little bit better than that passive, but this is an active effect, is a 5-turn cooldown, so it's basically one-time save on him. Aura, same aura as his base form with the HP in all battles, 35%. So, I mean, I'm kind of more interested in the attacker form because you can kind of do some cool stuff with the HP swap, the block revive, which is pretty cool because you can go HP swap, block revive on somebody. That could be really, really cool. But it honestly depends on his multipliers. And personally, I think, yeah, like I said, I'm interested in his attack form. Multipliers are important. His base form has some utility. Obviously, like you know, if you can get some stuff going on with his base form, like remove some stuff, CC some stuff, it might be useful. But yeah, I mean, he comes with necrosis as well on his attack form, and he's more likely to kill stuff on his attack form. And since he block revive, he can't like, it's going to be hard to take those necrosis stacks off, right? Because you can't remove those stacks unless you revive stuff. So, but anyways, he looks kind of interesting. I don't know if he's going to be like super meta. I mean, even now I'm like thinking about him, like, is this guy really going to be like, he really going to be meta? I'm like, he incorporates a couple cool things into his kit, and then he has a way to protect himself from dying. But it would have been nice if his support form had a way to protect himself from dying, or maybe he had to revive himself, or revive target himself, or, you know, like a cleanse or something, like some kind of support. Like, otherwise he's just CC, right? He's just CC. I don't know. It's yeah, it's not, I don't think it's enough. His support form's not enough. His damage dealer form is interesting, but we'll have to see. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for the video. Just a quick rundown on my thoughts on this new champion, Embrys, the Anomaly. Like I said, brand new mythical champion collected from fragments from the new clan boss, the Chimera clan boss. I'm going to do a breakdown on the Chimera and our next steps on how to beat it. I did find a lot of champions that I think have a huge value surge against the Chimera. So make sure you guys look out for that video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate your time as always. If you guys like the content, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. Really appreciate that. And I'll see you guys in the next one.